I wonder what's on the internet for me to check out today.
All video games need easy modes! I'm gonna explain. But first, if you're one of those, you're not a real gamer if you play games on easy mode people, you can scoot right along there, Buster! Cause listen, I love video games. I'm also very bad at video games. But I am a big kid with a big kid job and responsibilities like car payments, and I don't have time to be good at video games. Side note, we are not hating on people that make video games a priority. If being good at video games is one of your priorities, what an excellent way to spend your downtime. I am flabbergasted by your skills. It's just not one of my priorities. I have many skills in this life, but beating Hollow Knight mini bosses is not one of them. I don't want a challenge. Life is hard enough. I want a cool interactive story. And what happens is I get frustrated on a fight I can't beat, and I end up giving up, and I lose out on so much cool story. Video game creators, this is my plea to you. / on with the story. Easy modes, please. Thank you.
Oh boy, another thing going around Twitter I can make a video on. Now that clip you just watched comes from a huge movement throughout Twitter of people who insist that all games need easy mode. And I'd like to start out by saying, no, they actually don't. Let's break this all down because while there are a few merits to some sides, I feel like it's not helpful to game journalism, and more importantly, it's actually impossible for some genres. So first things first, when it comes to all games need easy mode. Well, not all games can have easy mode. Other than the matchmaking system in online games, multiplayer-focused games cannot have an easy mode because there is no way to make the opponent easy. At least not without unfairly skewing the game to one side. Take Apex Legends, for instance. That's still a big game, right? We haven't passed on? We're not on to the next game on that yet, are we? Are we on to the next game yet? No, it's okay. Apex is still a thing. Splitgate has not completely owned the market yet. But you could end up dropping in Apex, and you could land in the middle of nowhere. That's borderline easy mode. But any other team could end up landing with you, and that could be either A, Captain McMoron and his band of bumbling belligerents, or it could end up being Charles McFuckyouup and his battalion of badasses. You really have no way of knowing, and the attempt at matchmaking is not always that good. Plain and simple, online games have no way to have an easy mode. You will either get good at the game and learn to play it well, or you'll get screwed over. There really is no in-between. Even at the bottom of the board, you'll still find people who have a really good day and end up completely destroying your team. These will be the people who normally tilt off their ass and end up throwing the entire game away. But on the days they are on their game, they're good. And there's no way for matchmaking to balance these people properly. So we're going to focus only on story-based games or single-player games or games that have a large single-player focus. Now, from that video I showed you at the start, no, not all games need to have an easy mode. A game is not beholden to your desires on this. They don't have to make a game that appeals to your skill level. I get that you don't have all the time in the world to spend on video games, and that's perfectly fine, but the game creators do not have to and do not owe you an easy mode. If someone wants to make a Souls-like game, they don't have to give you an easy mode. However, you could put an easy mode in it, and from a market share perspective, that makes sense. You want the game to be as accessible as possible to have the largest market possible. There's literally a story mode option in Jedi Fallen Order. The reason this is there is because they want anyone to be able to play the game and enjoy it, not just the people who want to actively abuse themselves through their own computer. Like me. So there is some basis under the idea that a game should have an easy mode only if they want to appeal to a large market. If they don't care how large their market is and they are more concerned with fitting with the theme of their game, or they want to create a difficult experience for their game, then no, they do not owe you that. And this is where we branch into something like game journalism, where they want an easy mode so that things like Dark Souls are easier to play for people who want a more casual experience. The problem is, Dark Souls is a very difficult game for a reason. You're supposed to be struggling and dying 100 times. You're supposed to be having trouble getting through it on your first playthrough. The game is meant to be difficult, and a lot of the story and the feeling of the world fits with the difficulty of the game. it would lose some of its feeling if it was an easier game. The type of you might need therapy masochistic gameplay that led to the end felt like one hell of an accomplishment because it was so hard to get there. On the extreme end of things, there was a game journalist who insisted that they needed a mode where you could not die in Dark Souls, so you could simply go through and experience the story. Absolutely, I disagree. What you want is a visual novel if you want something where you literally cannot lose. A game where you cannot lose is not a game worth playing, it's a story, it's a book. You can read a book, you can go play a visual novel. They wanted this to be interactive and challenging. And as a journalist who is someone who writes about games, you should understand that Dark Souls would not be the same game if you didn't have the risk of dying. The big, epic monsters and their heavy, impacting attacks don't mean anything if there's no risk to it. Even on an easy mode, even if you were to mod an easy mode into it, there should still be a way for you to fuck up and die. There should still be a way for you to lose. The big, epic strikes that they make should still feel like they have weight to them. There's a reason people complained about the melee combat in something like Biomutant, because it has no weight to it. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything. Feather dusters don't quite inspire the fear that a sword made of fire does, you know? And I don't agree with the extreme opinion that Dark Souls needs a Looney Tunes immunity mode that game journalists would use to review it. Especially if the intended experience is a weak being clawing their way up impossible odds. Plain and simple, you would not be able to accurately review or talk about a game like Dark Souls if you couldn't die in it. And you couldn't talk about how easy it is to traverse the world, how easy it is to pick up the story, or how well the difficulty of the game is worked into the story if you couldn't lose. Imagine if they had a whole bunch of lore dropping in the middle of while you're fighting a boss. The journalists are listening to an audiobook mid-boss fight on I Can't Lose difficulty, which would be frightfully boring for people looking to play a game. And anyone on easy, normal, or hard is trying to time their sphincter clench with the boss's big ass fuck with fries attack. They would have to choose between beating the game or actually enjoying the story. And a reasonable person would tell you there should not be mutually exclusive goals in a video game. And I know you can go back and replay games, and replayability and extra story that you discover is a big part of games, but that's when you're looking for more parts to the story. Nier Automata gives you extra bits to the story, things you didn't know, fleshes out characters you didn't know anything about, those little hidden things and side quests that build the world. The central story, however, can still be acquired while playing it through. You don't have to go back to understand it. In fact, the reason they focus on other characters and other things for the replayability is because they assume that you were paying attention the first time. So I don't have any particular problem with video game developers adding an easy mode, and if your Souls-like game has an easy mode, literally no one makes you choose easy mode. If you want to play Dark Souls on ultra super fuck my ass raw with a metal pipe difficulty, that's totally on you. And it is completely your decision to do so. But pretending like having an easy mode is somehow going to ruin it is not true. However, I can understand the feeling that adding a mode you literally can't lose in is a lot of effort for the devs that would open the game to poor reviews because a core component of the game is now optional. But again, you choose the buttons you press. So it's up to the devs if they want that version of their game to be judged. And much like a popular streamer or YouTuber's political opinion, they don't owe that to you. Finally, again, the idea that every video game needs an easy mode. Multiplayer games can't have an easy mode, and if the game developer doesn't want to put an easy mode in it, either dedicate enough time to be good enough to finish the game without an easy mode, or play a different game. There's a fuck ton of them out there. I promise you, you will not be light on things to do, and if you don't want to go out and play a game but you still want to get the story of it, you could always watch your favorite streamer's playthrough of it.
No, not mama. Where's the door? Oh, okay.
admit it, you all knew I was gonna find some reason to sneak a VTuber in here. Anyway, like, share, follow, comment, subscribe, all those things you can undo later if you want to upset the balance of the world. And let me know down in the comments, do you think that all games should have an easy mode? And if not, do you think an easy mode actually takes away from the game in any way, shape, or form? No one made you select it, so I kind of don't see why. Or if you think I've completely missed the beat of the argument and don't understand what I'm talking about because I'm a fake gamer for whatever reason, go down to the comments and be entertainingly angry.